This is my journal. It's a Leuchtturm 1917 A5 size with the square grid layout. I've also got this little pen attachment to hold these pens I got from Muji. I started using this specific journal after my friend Resu recommended to me, but as someone who loves technology and digital apps, I've learned a lot from reincorporating certain analog tools like this back into my life. So in this video, I want to talk a bit about my process for journaling and some of the lessons that I've learned from writing in this journal over the past year. Let's get into it. All right, so what's my process like for journaling? Well, I think the beauty of journaling on an unformatted notebook like this is that it's truly a blank canvas, even more so than a blank note document or text file. You can, of course, write in normal straight lines, or you can draw shapes, arrows, designs, tables, pictures, or format it in whatever way makes sense for what you're feeling on that particular day. You know, you can take a more systemized, rigid approach some days, or maybe a more free, loose approach on other days if that's what you're feeling. So I don't really approach it as trying to follow a specific system where I need to write down these certain things every single day or track these certain metrics every month, and that's the answer to fixing and taking care of everything in my life. I don't think it works that way. I see it more as your journal being the medium for which you can apply a bunch of different methods or tactics. It's kind of like there's a whole toolbox of techniques that you can use depending on your needs in your specific life at that time. If you look through my journal, it's kind of all over the place. Each month, I've still been creating this monthly page that I learned from Resu, where I track a few key habits for the month and a daily highlight. And I do definitely think that that's a great, simple, low friction way to kind of document your life, think positively, and hopefully build up a few key habits. I'll link his video down in the description. He's got a whole life tracker method that a lot of people seem to enjoy, so I would definitely check that out if you're interested. But beyond that page, I'll keep things pretty open and flexible and pick from a variety of methods depending on what makes the most sense for me in that season of my life. Sometimes I'll write out an entire weekly plan with the key tasks that I want to complete this week. Other times when I have something specific weighing on my mind, I'll just write today's date and document my thoughts and experiences from that day and use my journal more like a diary. If I'm feeling a bit down mentally, I might just write out one sentence with something that I'm grateful for each day. Or if I've got a busy week ahead and a bunch of project deadlines coming up and I really need to lock in and be on top of my time management, I might actually just use my journal to time block out my entire day on paper. This is something that I've talked about in other videos on my channel. Since a blank physical journal like this is so flexible, I can change up the methods that I use each month or even each day by just starting fresh on the next page. But at the same time, everything still lives in this one journal, so there's still some cohesiveness to the whole thing, and it makes it really satisfying to look back through. Apart from those daily highlights, I don't pressure myself to journal every single day, but have found that the process quickly becomes very satisfying, enjoyable, and so most days I just naturally find myself wanting to write something down. If you're human like me and not some AI robot person, chances are you have real thoughts and feelings every single day. In fact, according to ChatGPT, us humans have at least 6,000 thoughts every day, so chances are you have at least something that you could write down each day. All right, so let's first talk about the role that my journal plays in my life, not just as a content creator, but just in general as a human being. One theme that I've been exploring on this channel is figuring out how best to incorporate technology into my lifestyle. Whether it's geeking out over the latest Apple devices, camera gear, or software, I've always looked for ways to make the most of technology to benefit my life. But as tech and AI have rapidly progressed over the past 5 to 10 years, it's become clear to me that the latest and greatest technological advancements don't actually always improve our lives, and in many cases can actually make them worse. So in response, over the past couple years, I've become incredibly selective about when I take advantage of the latest piece of tech and when I actively resist certain technologies in favor of more primitive analog alternatives like journaling on pen and paper. Now, one additional way that I find myself using my journal is to help me learn things and clarify my understanding of different topics by synthesizing those ideas into my journal. Whenever I learn something or get some new insight through reading a book, watching a YouTube video, taking a course, listening to a podcast, or even just reading through my old journal entries, to be honest, if I don't do anything, that stuff will just go in one ear and out the other. But I find that I can really cement my understanding and knowledge by taking those ideas, synthesizing them into my own words, and writing them out by hand in my journal. This is something that I sort of used to do back in university when I would be cramming for exams, where instead of just simply copying down notes from the lecture slides or the textbook, I would try my best to read about the ideas, really understand them, and then kind of summarize and write them down in my notes in a way that actually made sense in my head rather than just on paper, if that makes sense. And that definitely, I think, helped me perform better on exams, even though I didn't really take notes and stuff during lectures. But in many ways, just the act of writing out things by hand in my journal, whether it's ideas about a certain topic or steps in some process, makes it way more likely that I'll actually develop that skill that I'm trying to learn and be able to apply those learnings to my life. And this pairs incredibly well with another tool that I use for learning new skills, which is Brilliant. As technology and AI advances, it can quickly have a negative impact on our life if we just mindlessly adopt everything and don't intentionally balance it with low-tech activities like journaling. But carefully incorporating technology into our lives in ways that enhance it is difficult if we don't fully understand how the technology works in the first place. Brilliant is a learning app that helps you become a better thinker and problem solver through interactive hands-on lessons in topics like math, science, programming, data, and AI. For me personally, I've always been interested in tech and software, but I've never had formal teaching in programming or really understood how AI works under the hood. Yes, in theory, I could try watching a bunch of random YouTube videos or read a textbook or something, but realistically, I probably wouldn't stick to that approach or have the opportunity to actually apply that knowledge. Thankfully, Brilliant makes the process fun and motivating. Their courses are built around active problem solving, so you're actually learning by doing, not just passively watching someone explain a concept. Lately, I've been going through their How AI Works and Programming with Python courses, which break down complex topics in a way that's visual, interactive, and surprisingly intuitive. Each lesson is short and engaging, so I can make consistent progress without feeling overwhelmed. To learn for free on Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/MilesMochizuki. Scan the QR code on screen or click on the link in the description. Brilliant's also given our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Big thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. So if you're going to take one thing away from this video, it's to not stress so much about the specifics of how you use a journal, but rather to focus on simply dedicating regular time away from screens and technology and writing your thoughts and ideas down on paper. I've discussed a toolbox of journaling methods that I use, but you honestly don't need to use any of them. You can use someone else's or come up with your own. The point is to just think about, I guess, what you want to get out of journaling and what sort of issues or needs you might have in your life, and then just find the right prompts or specific approaches that will help meet that need. Writing on paper used to be a common, mundane thing, but in today's society that's been kind of infested with social media, tech, and AI, it's something that I know I at least have to make a conscious effort to do. Maybe this is just a me problem or just like a young people problem, but I'm pretty sure that once I finished university, I didn't write on paper or didn't need to write on paper for at least like a couple years. I'm old enough to remember what life was like before the first iPhone and social media, and it can feel like a lot of the latest tech and AI advancements are kind of just being shoved down our throats and talked about and marketed in ways that make us feel like we're going to fall behind or somehow have our purpose in life eliminated if we don't quickly adopt these new technologies. Of course, I have no idea what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years from now. I'm just a YouTuber, but honestly, I don't think anyone really knows for sure. But I do think, based on my non-expert perspective and experience dabbling in some of these AI tools and new technologies, is that there's a lot of fear-mongering going on and hype that serves as marketing for these giant tech companies. I think it's very possible that being able to think, operate, and build valuable skills the old-fashioned human way is going to become an unfair advantage as tech and AI takes over more and more of people's lives. And I think the good old-fashioned journal is a great tool to help you live a lifestyle with a healthy balance between digital and analog activities. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down below how you like to use your journal so I know who the real ones are. And you can click here to watch the latest video from mine. I'll see you over there.